Hey guys, what's up? My name is Max plays MTG, and this is my Shattergang Brothers Commander EDH deck. Now, Shattergang Brothers is a 4-mana 3/3, where I can tap 3 and sacrifice a creature to make everybody sack a creature, tap 3 and sack an artifact to make everybody sack an artifact, and tap 3 and sack an enchantment to make everybody sacrifice an enchantment. Now, how does this deck come together? Let's take a look at the mana base first. Now, given that we're in a 3-color deck here, 3-color mana fixing is important. So that's why we have Command Tower, Savage Lands, and Rupture Spire, and City of Brass. Moving on to 2-color fixing. We have all 3 guild gates, Gruul Guildgate, Golgari Guildgate, and Rakdos Guildgate. We also have both manlands from Worldwake, so we have Raging Ravine and Lava Claw Reaches. Next up, we have 2 of the Buddy lands. I can't find a Rootbound Crag. We have Woodland Cemetery and Dragon Skull Summit. We also have both life gain lands from Zendikar, so we have Akom Refuge and Kazandu Refuge. We have all 3 Vivid lands, including Vivid Crag, Vivid Marsh, and Vivid Grove. 2 Shock lands, because I traded away my Blood Crypt, so we have an Overgrown Tomb and a Stomping Ground. Both of the Scars of Mirrodin Fast lands, so we have a Black Cleave Cliffs and a Copperline Gorge. We have both Ice Age lands, a Sulphurous Springs, and a Carplusian Forest. We have both storage lands from Time Spiral Block. We have a Molten Slag Heap and a Fungal Reaches. We also have 2 of the 3 bounce lands from Ravnica Block. We have a Golgari Rat Farm and a Rakdos Cranium. Again, those Gruul lands are hard to find. We have 3 utility lands in the deck that don't specifically are dual lands, but they help us a lot. So we have Temple of the False God, Mosswort Bridge, and the only Scryland. Of course, I'll be getting the next 2 Scrylands when they come out. This is the only Scryland right now, the Temple of Abandon. Fetch lands, we have a Verdant Catacombs, a Terramorphic Expanse, and Evolving Wilds. And to round out our mana base, we have 2 swamps, 2 forests, and 2 mountains. So that's all for the lands. Now, let's move on to the mana-fixing artifacts and mana rocks that help to accelerate us and to help fix our mana. We have Soul Ring, Chromatic Star, Gruul Signet, Golgari Signet, and Myconsyth Wellspring, Mind Stone, Prophetic Prism, Darksteel Ingot, Obelisk of Jund, and Ashnod's Altar. Now, one of the reasons we have the cards such as Prophetic Prism and Chromatic Star, which are like one-time use and mana fixing only, is because they can still be sacrificed to the Shattergang Brothers as artifacts. Moving on to creatures, we can sacrifice 2 Shattergang Brothers. So we have Tempt with Vengeance, which puts elemental tokens onto the battlefield. We have Mogg War Marshal, which essentially is 3 creatures. We have Night Soil, which exiles things from a graveyard that could be a threat and puts 1/1s onto the battlefield. We have Brood Birthing. All it does is make an Eldrazi spawn, but if we already have one, then it makes 3. So it can even help to ramp us if we have an Eldrazi spawn, and kind of can either sacrifice 4 mana or sacrifice as creatures to Shattergang Brothers. We have an Ophiomancer, which makes snake tokens. Sprouting Thrynax, which is essentially 4 creatures in 1. Squee Goblin Nabob, which keeps coming back after you sacrifice to Shattergang Brothers. Awakening Zone, which makes mana and makes dudes. Growth Spasm, which is a ramp spell that also makes an Eldrazi spawn. Endless Cockroaches, which returns to your hand when it dies. Kozilek's Predator, which is a dude in itself and makes Eldrazi spawn. Emrakul's Hatcher, which is a dude in itself and makes Eldrazi spawn. Ogre Slumlord, which puts rats on the battlefield whenever things die. Endrixar Master Breeder, which gives us tokens whenever you cast creatures. And Gutter Grime, for whenever your creatures die, making oozes. Siphon Flesh, making everybody sacrifice a creature and getting 2/2 zombies for each creature sacrificed. Dragonlair Spider, getting 1/1 insect whenever people cast spells. Rampacious One, being a creature itself and also making Eldrazi spawns when it deals damage. Whoa, there goes my camera. Okay, we're all good. Avenger of Zendikar, which makes plant tokens and can make them bigger. And Verdant Force, which make 1/1 Saplings every upkeep. And Woodfall Promise, which persists after you sacrifice it and destroys non-creature permanents. Now, that's all the sacrifice fodder we have for Shattergang Brothers. Some of these things can be sacrificed too, or just work really well with sacrifice. Mortician Beetle, whenever people sack, this gets bigger. Phyrexian Reclamation, an enchantment that brings things back to your hand. Rancor, an enchantment that when it dies, comes back to your hand to be sacrificed again to Shattergang Brothers. Same thing with Aspect of the Mongoose, it gives something Shroud, and when it's put into a graveyard, you can return it back to your hand. Rune Servitor is a group hug card. It can be sacrificed as an artifact or a creature to Shattergang Brothers, and everybody draws a card when it dies. Mere Retriever, getting an artifact back when it dies. Sword of the Meek, with the amount of tokens this deck produces, we can sacrifice this to the Shattergang Brothers, and then return it whenever we make a 1/1. Skurzag High Priest helps to make 5/5 demons whenever things are sacrificed. Illusionist Bracers, we can put it on the Shattergang Brothers, so we can sacrifice one thing to make everybody else sack 2. Goblin Sharpshooter, with the amount of creatures dying, this is pretty much a death machine. Attrition, we can sacrifice creatures to destroy other creatures. For example, if they have a lot of tokens on the battlefield, and we can't make them kill their threat through the Shattergang Brothers, this is a really good way to do it. Furnace Celebration, whenever we sacrifice things, we can pay 2 and shock something. Savra, gaining life when we sacrifice creatures, and forcing others to sacrifice. Sangromancer, gaining 3 life whenever something's put into a graveyard, and discarding cards gaining all its life. Solemn Simulacrum not only draws a card and ramps us, but is also can be sacrificed as an artifact or a creature to Shattergang Brothers. Foster is really well with the sacrifice. We pay 1, and then we can mill till we hit a creature and put that into our hand. Deathbringer Thoctor kind of just kills everybody once it's on the battlefield. I mean, with all your tokens that you have that you can just sacrifice free will, you can pretty much get this up to a 20/20, maybe even bigger, and just kill somebody. Ryusei, when it's sacrificed, we can blow up the entire board. Butcher of Malakir forces double sacrifice. Now let's move into things that don't really work well with the sacrifice theme, but could work, and also just utility cards. We have Mana Bloom. Nihilist Spellbomb, this kind of works with Shattergang because when it dies, you can pay an extra black to draw. Swiftfoot Boots. Hull Breach, destroying artifacts and enchantments. Nozumi Grave Robber. Grim Return is really nice because if they sacrifice something that we want with Shattergang Brothers, we can just pay 3 and bring it back. Underworld Connections is an enchantment. We can sacrifice to Shattergang Brothers, and we can also draw cards. Same thing with Necrotic Plague. Possibility Storm is really fun, but also if you need to, you can sacrifice it to Shattergang Brothers. Tempt with Immortality gets everybody a creature back, but then I get a creature back for each player. Sepulchral Primordial is one of the cards that kind of holds this deck together. You can steal your opponent's things to kill them, or just have more sacrifice fodder. And of course, the General, Shattergang Brothers. So thank you guys so much for watching my Shattergang Brothers deck tech. And if you would like to enter the contest to possibly win 3 cards that I have right here, a Tristani Selesnya's Voice, an Ilea, God of the Hunt, and a Melik Is It Paragon, be sure to check out my contest video. That'll be in the description down below. And thank you guys so much for watching this Commander Deck Tech.